Hello and welcome. This video is going to be without editing and it's going to be a one shot, one kill. I have been in a unique position in my life where I have lived through 3 conflicts in the United States. By conflicts, I mean wars. I've even fought in one war in the United States. And now I'm living in the Russia. And I'm living through the war in Ukraine. I wanted to talk about the hypocrisy that I feel because I've lived in both countries during a time of war, and I actually got to see a lot of things in both countries while they were in these conflicts. Now, this video is going to be a straight shot. There are going to be some photos popping up, maybe some facts when I say different things, but I'm not going to stop until I get out what's in my mind. Now, when I was 18 years old, I joined the United States Marine Corps and I went to fight in Afghanistan. I didn't know that I would see as much as I saw, but when I came back, I remember there were many people protesting. This was 2009 through 2013. There was a lot of people protesting. They were anti-war. And my car had military tags to get on base, and my car would usually have trash thrown at it and stuff like this. But there were also people who supported the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan and eventually in Syria. Now, I have lived in Russia from the very beginning, damn near the very beginning. I came into Russia in 2022 in April, and I saw patriotism. I saw people exactly doing what was happening in the United States. We got to see protests that were real, that people were anti-conflict, anti-war, and we got to see people who supported the troops. I saw this in both countries. I saw this in large numbers in both countries. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because I believe that there's a big problem. We have a Western hypocrisy. We can say that one war is just and not the other. You know, I don't believe that. I don't think that could be true. I don't think that one side can say that you were doing an illegal war on a country while you had multiple wars against other countries. How do we justify war? When is it okay to say we can go to war with this country and cause havoc? I myself will not condemn anything or justify anything or none of that. I'm just telling you that I feel that we are hypocritical in the West because we try to justify some wars and condemn others. My grandma always told me, when you point your finger at someone and you say, you're bad, you have to watch out because you always have 3 fingers pointing back at you. You see, like when I'm pointing at someone and saying you're a bad person or you're doing something bad, I should reflect on myself because I have 3 other fingers pointing at myself. And I feel like in the West, we don't really do that. I feel like whatever Russia's doing, whatever Russia's been through, they have to deal with it with themselves. And whoever wants to get involved is going to get involved, and then they're going to go forward. I've done many military analysis, and we know that Russia's fighting many countries over there on the Eastern Front. And I just feel like I've seen enough in my life to see the red flags that come out from the West. It's a little bit unusual to talk about illegal wars when the war that I fought in lasted, it was 20 years of war. I think the Iraq war started in 2003, if I'm not mistaken. And I had friends who fought in all 3 conflicts, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. And you know, what's interesting about the one in Syria is that there is a time when Russians and Americans were fighting side by side and they got to meet each other there. And that's very interesting, right? Because you have the American war in Afghanistan and Iraq. And fast forward, Russia is fighting in Ukraine, but somewhere in the middle, in around 2014 and forward, the Russians and the Americans are on the same side. Not directly, but you see that kind of stuff. Now, what is it? Well, like I'm not trying to figure out why this conflict is happening, but we all know reasons why it's happening. What I'm trying to say is that I think that Westerners need to stop. There's a lot of people choosing sides. Americans shouldn't even be choosing sides in this. This is not our conflict. This is not our problem. This is something that Russia has to deal with on its own borders. And it's dealing with it now, and it's having talks with the United States. And it seems like they're seeing eye to eye. But I just feel like the beginning of this conflict could have gone into World War III because we were getting involved in things too much in a way that we shouldn't. Now, the hypocrisy comes again when you condemn one country for its actions. We as Americans have no clue what's happening on this side of the world. There's a lot of things that were said, from the forced mobilizations here in Russia to all of these weird things that were popping up on the news. I lived here during this time, and I lived here in the places where the majority of the fighters come from, in the Siberian regions. So I would have been exposed to many of the things that were lied about. And I'm not saying that they're lies to clear anybody's name. I'm just saying because these are the things that I experienced. It's a little bit embarrassing as well, because sometimes when you talk to people and you tell them, yes, you're a veteran of a war, maybe they might not agree with it, and it can go both ways, right? But it feels like in the United States there was so much hate against especially Marines who were coming back from Afghanistan. The words baby killer came back. It was like second Vietnam. And I don't know what it is. Here in Russia, you won't see so much hate for the troops. A lot of Russian people will say, oh, it's because this war is different. You fought in a war against people in sandals, blah, whatever. A lot of Americans will also say we went to fight for the wrong reasons, whatever. Again, I'm just reporting what the societies feel like, what they look like during a time of war. It is an unusual thing to have lived through these two things, because I've always thought of Russia as like this parallel universe, right? The United States and Russia are just on these parallel lines where they'll never meet, and they do things their own ways. And having lived in both in these under these circumstances is a very unique thing for me that I'll live for the rest of my life thinking back on these moments, and I'll be sure to tell my children, like, this is what happened, this is what was going on. I think that having these types of conversations with the future generations can really help people understand what was going on. There's not a lot of people that can say they were in both universes in one lifetime. Now, again, the hypocrisy, it bothers me, because there are people in the United States who will condemn absolutely everything without questioning and looking inside and looking at our track record and seeing what we've done. We have had, I served under the President Obama, and I left a little bit after, or a little bit before President Biden was elected. Now, under that presidency, we had the 3 wars going on, I believe. There was 3 wars. That is crazy. That is crazy to think that we are under a presidency fighting across the globe. Now, I would never dishonor my service. Again, I've said it many times. I know what I was there for. I fought in Afghanistan. I fought Taliban. And I fought people who were doing bad things to little kids, and that justified that situation for me. Now, a lot of people can be anti whatever they want, but I'm not ashamed of what I did. And a lot of Russian people actually tell me, hey, what are you talking about? That was not a just war. A lot of people here in Russia will say, yeah, you guys had no reason to fight there and all these things, but I have to remind them sometimes, listen, man, your people were also in Afghanistan. And I was not in Iraq, I was not in Syria, I fought in Afghanistan. And I fought the same people that fought the Soviets at that time, which is also a very strange place to be in. There's also hypocrisy on the side of the Russians when they tell me, no, you had no right to fight in Afghanistan. So listen, I feel like the world is just very hypocritical. They don't really do critical thinking. And I have a many respect for the Soviet Afghanistan veterans. Back there, you see, over here, you'll see a campaign cover from the Soviets in Afghanistan. I just feel that we do a disservice for humanity when we point too many fingers. We shouldn't be judging the Russians right now. We shouldn't be condemning them. We shouldn't be wanting to drown them and ruin them and just absolutely destroy them. It makes no sense. Like I said, I've lived through 3 wars and fought in 1 in the United States, and nobody from the outside world condemned us. Very small groups came forward and spoke up against us. And I feel like we did something that Russia and the United States, like I said, when we were in Syria together, you could see eye to eye because things were getting out of control somewhere around 2014. But nobody judged us. And I myself would never condemn the United States for its decisions. I am not a president. I am not a politician. I was just a simple grunt in a trench and running around in open fields in Afghanistan. The cogs will turn anyways. A lot of people, when we make videos like these, will say, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Nobody cares about us. You, whoever's typing the comment, and me, whoever is talking, we're nothing. We're nothing. But what we can be is be humble and never point the fingers. When this is over, I hope that peace comes between both sides, the United States and Russia. I hope that the hypocrisy can end. I hope that they can work side by side. There were talks that they were willing to work on global issues, and I think that that would be magnificent because the world needs these 2 countries to be at peace and working together. There has been absolutely no edits this entire time. I hope that if you've been listening and you've been enjoying the conversation, that you consider putting like and subscribing. I feel that things will hopefully get better. I mentioned in a previous video that my child will be born. I have my wife, she's pregnant. She's 3 months pregnant. And in October, hopefully, I'll have a healthy baby girl or baby boy. Their citizenship will be Mexican, well, it'll be Russian, Mexican, American. And because of those citizenships, this is the reason why I try to bring reason to people who may listen. There's been many people who hated Russia, and through these videos that we make, they kind of understand a little bit more about the country and understand that we, the people who are living in Russia, but especially the Russian people, are just from the same planet. They're from the same planet. They've never hurt you personally. They didn't go and kill your cat or kick your baby. We're all just humans, and governments will do what governments do. And I hope things get better between the United States and Russia. But we do need to end the hypocrisy. Please leave all of your comments down below in the comment section. Remember, we do read them in this channel, and when I have time, I do reply to some. Down below is an open forum, and it's where I like to let you guys express whatever you're thinking. I thought I'd make this type of video without stopping to know what you guys think. It makes it easier for me to produce videos if I can just speak my mind on a certain topic and go and send it out to the world. I'm even forced to do this kind of content more because, again, my wife is pregnant. I'm not going to have her outside recording all the time. And I want her to be healthy. I want her to be safe so that my child and her child can be healthy and see us in October. All right. I'll see you guys on another video tomorrow.